Welcome to Midnight Movie Talk on this Sunday night. It's time for the Sunday evening box office discussion live from a scorching, sun hot. We are living on the surface of the sun here in Los Angeles, where it was 110 degrees. It's summer's over. This is the last weekend of summer, Labor Day. And yet, here we are. I feel like I moved to the desert. It is unbearable. But we're here tonight, ready to go. And let's talk about National Cinema Day because that was the big story this weekend for the box office. Box office, top 10. The numbers are actually lower than last weekend. So we knew that was coming. We had nothing new in the marketplace except Honk for Jesus, which was a total disaster as we expected. And we all knew what happened. But the rest of it all went wild on Saturday because of these $3 tickets for all kinds of films. Everything was $3. There wasn't one film that was exempt from this National Cinema Day. And you saw all the social media out there. People flocked to theaters in droves. Down the street at Burbank 16, they were sold out for almost every single screening throughout the day. If they weren't sold out, it was like 90+% of the seats were sold. So smashing success. And the theaters make a ton of money. In fact, most of their money comes from concessions. So they're very happy with this. Now, I'm going to tell you why we're not very likely going to see another National Cinema Day the way that we did here in a moment. But let's get to the details on this Sunday night. And we go directly to the Hollywood Reporter because they actually are positive about this. Wait till you read the Variety article with me. You're going to die. You're like, who wrote this? This is all negative coverage. It's biased. This is good. Summer box office soared, but now what? So we're going to talk not just about National Cinema Day, because we are at the end of summer. We're also going to discuss films, how they did. We're going to grade the major films and how they performed over the past several months this summer as we wrap it up here on this Labor Day weekend. Okay, so going through the article here on THR, talking about the big winners, Top Gun Maverick. Obviously, this weekend, Spider-Man No Way Home is going to win the weekend, and then Jaws did pretty well as well. But you roll down here, and they get into what we were just talking about. We've got nothing going on right now until we get to Black Adam and Halloween Ends. Those are the next two major films. Now, we have Barbarian. We're going to discuss here in a few moments about what you expect for that, and we'll talk. But we really have nothing else except for, obviously, Don't Worry, Darling. I'll see that on Wednesday night. We'll do a stream Wednesday night. But aside from those two, we don't have a whole lot going on. We have a whole bunch of stuff that's likely not going to perform that well, okay, until we get to Black Adam and Halloween Ends. But if you look here, they're talking about the $3 pricing that we had on Saturday. A lot of noise going on about how the industry is doing. We tend to focus on negative narrative and a couple of chains that are in trouble. We just went through one of the most devastating periods in our history, the COVID lockdowns. I've been in this business 42 years, and the fact so many cinemas have stood tall is amazing. That is the chairman of the National Association of Theater Owners. So listen, here's why National Cinema Day was a success. Because you packed theaters, obviously, duh. But what does that do? That reminds people that have not been in a theater for the past several weeks because we haven't had anything that you really want to go out and see. Hey, fall movie season is around the corner, and this is what it's like to come back to the theaters. Some people probably hadn't been back in a theater since Top Gun Maverick. And now they're here this past weekend on Saturday for $3 seats, and they're watching movies that they would normally not pay the full admission price for, like, let's say, The Invitation or Fall, some of these small movies that didn't do well. But now at $3, you're like, what the hell? Why not? But you know what's funny? This $3 pricing is exactly like getting A-list. Now, granted, it's $24, but I break it down. Each movie is like, what, less than $3. If you go to the movies, you're talking about 12, 3 a week times 4 is 12 movies a month for $24, $2 for each movie. Get A-list. But for everyone else who doesn't have it, it was a bargain. That's why these films did well. Now, here's why we're not going to see another National Cinema Day the way we did anytime soon. This set up perfectly. This promotion did. Why? Because there was not anything major, especially new, in the multiplex. Therefore, the studios were like, go ahead. At this point, let's sell a whole bunch of $3 seats for these movies that weren't going to move any numbers in the first place, and we're going to make more money. Like The Invitation dropped only like a couple $1 million because of the $3 seats. But do you think Disney would have okayed National Cinema Day with Shang-Chi in theaters? No, of course they wouldn't. It's a brand new movie that was last year during Labor Day. If they tried to do National Cinema Day during Shang-Chi's theatrical only release, there's no way that Disney would have greenlit that. Therefore, you have a situation where there's something new in the marketplace, like let's use last summer, Shang-Chi, and then you have people coming in expecting to pay $3 and they go, oh, everything but Shang-Chi is $3. Then you get angry customers. This is the analysis you don't get anywhere else. No one else has figured out what I just said. Everyone thinks we're going to do National Cinema Day exactly how we just did it forever for the remaining history of time. No, because of what I just told you, no studio is going to give up full price tickets for a brand new hot film. And we didn't have that this weekend. That's why they said go ahead and do it. So whatever happens going forward, it's not going to look how it did this weekend because studios are never going to give up the full price ticket for a brand new, hot, new release film. So enjoy National Cinema Day. We'll never see it like it was. There's the only, you're never going to hear that anywhere else. Aaliyah, good evening to you. What are the lessons you hope theaters, studios, and both learn from National Cinema Day? I think number one, we can all agree that ticket prices are too high. That is why I always say every single stream here on MMT, get A-List, get Regal Unlimited, whatever you have access to that is a one fee, $25-$30 for a month worth of movies. If you see really 1.5 movies, you've already paid for yourself. If you go to see 2 movies a week, which is a lot of you, I'm sure, do that because we're hardcore cinephiles, right? We love going to movie theaters. Then it's easily worth the money. For me, I'm paying $2 every time I go to see a movie down the street, and that includes IMAX, Dolby, if you're Regal, 4DX, all those screens are in, right? I shouldn't say for sure about Regal. I'm not sure. I know this. AMC, there are no restrictions on 3D, IMAX, any of that stuff. So it's just the best thing you could possibly buy for your money. It's really good. Simone, good evening to you. I think National Cinema Day is a great idea. I've seen all the films I needed to see. This is a promotion that should happen at least one time a year. I agree, but again, we're not going to see it the same way we did because if we have it on the same weekend, the chances are going forward, studios will not be so stupid, let's just call it what it is, and release nothing of significance over the Labor Day holiday. Therefore, you've got a 3-day weekend, you got a new film, and you're going to remove that from the options. When you show up, they're like, everything but Don't Worry, Darling. And then everyone who came to see Don't Worry, Darling is like, I'm not paying $15. Then you have a situation in the lobby where you have a bunch of angry, pissed off customers, and that serves nobody. Therefore, I don't think we're going to see it the way we just did. I think that makes perfect sense, right? Superhero movies are the best movies. Good evening to you. What about if National Cinema Day is every year in the dead of August / early September? That's a good time. Like, I don't know if it's going to be always Labor Day weekend because this was a huge whiff by the studios. You can't put nothing in theaters for a 3-day weekend, even with college football back. And you know, I love college football and that game, Florida State, what an ending. And Ohio State last night, my alma mater, win, thank you. As much as that dents your business, you still want to put things in there that will, anything that will drive some money into the multiplex. And look, you have people in droves showing up to see movies. Now, obviously, that's because tickets were $3. But if you gave them a really great movie, I think that we still would be looking at a movie that was at least 15 million plus this weekend. Let's say Barbarian. I mean, I really feel like Barbarian could have moved up here. The only new movie we really had this weekend was Jaws, a movie from 1975. It's almost 50 years old. And that was the lone big new movie in the multiplex. By the way, I saw it in 3D. It was pretty cool. I recommend it. You know what's interesting about watching that film now, almost 50 years on, is that it's too long. I literally was watching it going, there's a way to make this movie at least 10 minutes to 15 minutes shorter. So this is a problem that has persisted in Hollywood for a very long time. I remember when I rewatched The Godfather, same thing. It doesn't need to be 3 hours. Stop making these films so long. It's just a major problem with Hollywood. What movies were featured in the show reel before the movie shown yesterday for National Cinema Day? I don't know the answer to that. Show reel, were we talking about? I don't know. Aaliyah, better explain that. I'm sorry. I'm missing what you're saying there. I definitely recommend AMC A-List for everyone who mentioned the benefits of National Cinema Day. I wish it would continue. It does pay for itself if one sees movies enough a month. And I think, again, all you need to see is 1.5. So it just makes perfect sense. Okay, let's move on, and then we'll come back to National Cinema Day. I want to grade the summer's films. because we're at the end of summer. It is time to do it. And how do we do it? We look at, obviously, we're looking at box office. We're looking at expectations for the film versus what it did, and did it exceed or go under the number. And we start with our A pluses. Let's start at the top. It's very easy. You guys know what those are. It is going to be Top Gun Maverick, now at almost 700 million. Tomorrow it should cross 700 million domestic, over 1.4 billion worldwide. You have Minions at 900 million worldwide. And then I threw Elvis in there as an A plus. This is a movie that is at 150 million domestic. If I were to tell you when Elvis first came out back in, was it May now or June? It's going to be a $150 million movie. I wouldn't take that. I would say 100. So now we're 50 million over where that movie really could be on a good end, on a high end. You're 50 over. So you're plus 50% on top of a great number. Therefore, it is an A plus. And the other reason it's an A plus is it helped bring older audiences back, just like Maverick. In tandem, Maverick and Elvis brought old folks back to the multiplex, which is very good news for theaters going into fall, because we're getting into these festival films. You guys are aware right now we have Venice, we have Telluride coming up next week, we have Toronto. These are where all the awards films are debuting. We can talk about those in the comments. I'm not going to get too far into the films because I have not seen them. I don't want to read someone else's opinion, because I told you this. I trust about one person to tell me if a film delivers in all the areas I'm looking for when I watch a film, especially in the awards lens. I'm sorry. I've said it so many times. I'm going to say it again tonight. I don't care if it pisses someone off. Not everybody is good at evaluating film. In fact, I would argue most people aren't good at it. Okay. And they can't tell you exactly why something is this or this. And also it's groupthink, right? You go to a festival and it's like, this movie's great. You hear that buzz and it's very hard to be contrarian and say, no, it's not. It's a slog. It's overlong. The only thing good about it is, let's use Tar, for example. Cate Blanchett's the only thing that's really great about Tar. And then you get into the situation where everyone tries to be hive mind. I will never, ever be a hive mind person. I can't imagine going through life trying to match your opinion to what the group thinks. I think it's weak as hell. I mean, why are you doing that? Like, be your own person, make your own decisions, and be an independent, critical thinker all the time. And that's what we want to teach here on MMT. So let's go to the next group of grades, and then hit me in the comments if you think these grades are wrong or if you think they're dead on. Dominion, Jurassic World Dominion, at almost a billion. It's so close to a billion worldwide right now. Black Phone, 150 million worldwide plus. Actually, Black Phone, I think, is even higher than that. Give me a second. Let me pull it up. Let's share the screen and let's go to it. So Black Phone, I think, is at 150 plus. Let's get it. Okay, so Black Phone was a huge hit, okay? When you look at this film and what it did versus the budget of Black Phone was like 20 million, and it's over $150 million. Also, Crawdads, over 100 million worldwide, 85 plus million domestic. This is a huge hit. And ultimately, you look at films, we're not just talking about total box office when we grade these things. We're talking about what was expected. And when I tell you the Crawdads, where the Crawdads saying we were thinking was like a $30 million film, maybe 50, and it's at 100 plus million, it's an A. Okay, it might even be an A plus if you look at it through those lenses. But all three of those are A's. Here's my B plus. There's really only one. Thor: Love and Thunder. It's a movie at 750 million worldwide. Now, granted, that's a very good number, but why is it lower than an A? Because this is a film that when you look at Doctor Strange is at 950, you're 200 million off that. So I actually could take Thor and Love and Thunder and drop it to a B, B minus. But I'm going to be kind to the film because I think it still did very good numbers. 750 million is a very solid number. No one's going to cry about that over Disney, but they did want more. So we can go B plus, we can go a little bit under that, but I think that's a pretty good grade. Couple more and then we'll get your reactions to these grades. My two B movies, Nope, at 150 million worldwide. I was kind to it. I could have gone a little lower on Nope, but 150 million worldwide is still a very good number. It's still a far cry, though, from us at 250 million. So I think B is probably a little high now that I think about it. Maybe we'll go lower, but I'm going to be kind and grade a little bit on a curve here and say that overall it's solid. Also, Bullet Train now at 150 plus. I think it's almost at 200 million worldwide. When you look at that film, which a lot of people said was, oh, Bullet Train's a bomb. This movie only opened to 35 million. And I called people out, and I was blocked by people on Twitter. A certain box office person who is biased. Sorry, not good at what he does. Hey, so let's just say the reality of it. Biased. And when you call them out and you don't admit that you're wrong, or you're under a lens of trying to put something together like your own little agenda, then I'm going to call you out. B for Bullet Train for sure, and that grade is only going to go higher as it continues. It benefited very much from this past weekend with that $3 seat, the seats for $3. Of course it benefited from that. My worst grade of the summer is Lightyear at a D. Now, I was thinking about Lightyear as an F, or I guess as the kids know, it's an E or whatever the hell it is, an F, because this is a film that still ended up with 220 million worldwide, which is a very good number. I mean, okay, compared to the budget, it's not. But 220 million is not the worst, but when you put it under the lens of Pixar and budget and all these things, then of course you have to drop that number way down. This is a movie that I think all of us thought would be 500 million plus. You got Minions at 900, and you've got Lightyear at 220. And you tell me, really, I think I was too kind on a lot of these. Hit me with your comments. Let's go. Were these grades fair? What other films do you want to see that are graded? No name here. Good evening, Eric. I know you have Sunset Circle. We got to do some MMT awards. We're going to do that for sure. Listen, we're going to absolutely do that as we cruise through award season. So be ready for that. We're just not going to start quite yet. This festivals, now people ask me, Eric, why don't you go to the festivals? Because, okay, let's just break it down. Financially, if you're going to spend thousands of dollars to fly to Venice, to fly to Toronto, to Telluride, to watch a movie that I can see 2, 3, 4 days later here in LA, what are you doing? For a reaction tweet? Now, think about that for a moment. A reaction tweet that gets you 1,000 likes. We've done this before. I've shown you the analytics on Twitter. Guess how much that pays you? Do you guys know how much 1,000 likes pays you? The same as 0 likes. $0. I think there's a lot of ego involved in going to movie festivals. I think there's a lot of, I want to see it first so I can determine if the film is worthy. And ultimately, yeah, do I like to do that too? Yes. But why are you spending thousands of dollars flying to go see a movie that you can watch days later here in LA for the press? They'll show them to us very soon after they debut. Great example. Don't Worry, Darling. It is debuting tomorrow in Venice. You're going to see all these reactions. Guess what I'm seeing? Don't Worry, Darling. At Warner Brothers this week. Okay, should I fly across the globe to go see Don't Worry, Darling on a Monday when I can see it days later at Warner Brothers? It doesn't make sense. So I understand, hey, listen, if you're getting paid to go, if one of the trades, let's say that like you work for Variety or THR, great, go. That's cool. You're getting paid. But if you're flying on your own dime to go and like have a reaction tweet or God forbid, end up on a box, right? Look, I mean by box, thrilling and emotionally authentic. Again, guess how much that pays? Guess how much the Dune quote pays? $0. It's ego. I don't really care about that. I know, shocking. It doesn't pay the bills. Why are we flying across the thing? Hey, those of you who love it, go for it. I mean, it's cool, but I'm just telling you, for me, financially, it makes no sense. None. Lonely Lizard. I give Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness an AA- because it was the comic book movie of 20. Lonely Lizard, you're so biased. But you love this film. I love your total fanboy on you're the number one fanboy for Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. I mean, it's almost 1 billion worldwide. The Batman only got to 775, but remember, the Batman was a darker film. We didn't have the families in play. Also, there was it in China? God, it's been such a long year. There were issues with Russia at the time, obviously, for Batman, and there were for Doctor Strange as well. But Marvel is always going to do better than DC, right? Sorry, I'm unbiased. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't have money in Marvel. I don't have money in DC. At the end of the day, a Marvel movie will 9 times out of 10 make more money than DC. Now, that's going to change, and that's why you have Zaslav trying to get his whole Feige thing going there with the DCEU. But right now, Marvel's ahead of DC, certainly from a box office perspective. But yeah, but here's the reason I didn't put Multiverse of Madness in there, because it was earlier in May. And therefore, I really wanted to start on Memorial Day, because if you go back to the traditional movie going calendar, you really looked at Memorial Day to Labor Day. That was summer. That was it. Anything outside that, like Everything Everywhere All at Once, even though it did numbers during the summer, it came out in March and then slowly made its way across the country. But that's not a summer movie to me. So all the movies I picked tonight is that they are all summer movies. Jeff, good lasagna in Venice. Well, I mean, yeah, that's great. I can get good lasagna down the street here in Burbank, okay, but not as great as Venice. It's a long way to go and a lot of money to spend to be first, okay. Again, if you're making money, if you're paying your bills via going to Venice, but let me give you a hint of how many people are doing that are there. Very few. Like, I'm talking a very small percentage, like less than 5% of the people are paying their bills from going to film festivals. It's more of a love, and that's fine. But for me, it's like, I'm going to see them anyhow. I mean, it shouldn't really matter when you see a film, whether you see it first, second, third, 6 months later. I mean, obviously, you don't want to be too late on this, because when we do a show like this, you don't want to be like, oh, I haven't seen that movie yet. That wouldn't be good to host a show and be unfamiliar with a film. But we're so early in this, are we going to start drilling down on The Whale and Brendan Fraser, now? When we're going to be talking about that in literally a month and a half? Why are we going to start tonight? We can talk about it a little bit, but as far as going into it really, really fierce is a little too much. Gone Girl Jaws probably has the best pacing for any film, in my opinion. Probably top 5 best movies ever made. I disagree. The runtime, when we get on the boat needs some editing. And it's interesting when you go back and you watch these films again. And remember, I told you guys when I started doing this, it's been over 10 years. I really started drilling down on being a film evaluator back in about 2010. When you look at that over the past decade for me, if you were to show me a film in 2010 and show me a film now in 2022, I couldn't do the same things, because it's just like anything in life. You get better at it, right? Even hosting the show, even hosting MMT. When I first started to now, how it flows. I know how it goes. Comments, we know how to work this thing. That's a learning curve, okay? So when you watch films, and now that I'm much better at it, okay, and anyone gets better the more you do something, right? That's just the laws of how things work. When I watch Jaws, I say there is a tighter film in there. There's no question in my mind. Same as The Godfather. There's a tighter film in there. I know that's sacrilege to some people, but I'm telling you, there's a tighter film. Even if it's 5 minutes, that still technically is a tighter film, right? This is why, as a screenwriter, I love MMT. It's the purest market research I could ask for. Your objective critical analysis is valuable. Thank you so much, Jeff. Really, listen, I think that's the ultimate praise that I could ever get for this show and for what I do and my mentality when I approach film, is that it is objective film evaluation from a box office standpoint to overall content standpoint to just the overall critical evaluation of it. You are trying to be neutral and trying to accurately gauge what it does well in certain areas. And I think there's a lot of people that are incapable. I'm just honest, you guys. Come on, be honest. There's a lot of people that are biased, that are they're not as talented as other people are. I'm not saying versus me, I'm just saying in general. You have to get better at it, and that comes from watching a lot of films. Like I said, if you had me watch a film in 2010 and watch a film in 2022, I guarantee the 2010 Eric could not do what the 2022 Eric could. It's just like anything. It's like going to, guys know I go to the gym. Going to the gym now for 20 plus years, I'm in just a little better shape now than I was 20 years ago when I started. It's just like everything. It accumulates over time. So I appreciate that. Really high praise. Thank you, Jeff. Good stuff. Dolce, good evening to you. Off topic, what do you think of reception for Brendan Fraser got of the wheel? It's fine. We can do that. I mean, we're at the point now where we're at open comment time. So let's go to it. I do have one more topic I'm going to throw in there, but since we're into it, let's just go open comment. Let's have the comment up again. And here's the thing. When you look at all these like long ovations at Cannes, now at Venice, you're going to get it at Toronto. The audience is there, and of course the stars there. So they go, yeah, this is amazing. I'm sure he's great. Okay, let's talk a little bit. Since we're here, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Brendan Fraser. Okay. Brendan Fraser disappeared off of Hollywood's radar back after, you remember, The Mummy and all that. He disappeared. And one thing that no one has talked about with Brendan Fraser, and this is something that you're only going to get here, okay? Again, the only place that you're going to get what I'm about to say about Brendan Fraser and why he disappeared from Hollywood's radar for a long time is right now. And here it comes. You guys ready? You're going to be like, oh my God. And when I say it, it's going to make sense to you. Hollywood is all about looks. Okay. And that's what's interesting about The Whale to me. It's not that Brendan Fraser got fat. Brendan Fraser started losing his hair. You guys are like, my God, Eric, you're nuts. No, hold on for a second. Brendan Fraser started to go bald. And let me tell you about Hollywood and going bald. It's not good. I could list a bunch of celebrities who started to lose their hair and then miraculously got new hair one way or another, and it saved their career. There's at least 5 I could name to you right now. Okay. When Brendan Fraser started to go thin up in the hair in the follicle area, his roles started to dry up along with the box office results that he had. I'm telling you this, that if you are a leading man in Hollywood and you're known for your full head of hair, like let's say Brad Pitt, and all of a sudden Brad Pitt's bald, you first of all, you can't cast him in everything. You have to have a shaved head. But these are the things that you got to pay attention to. I know this is like wild. You're like, what the hell? Someone hit me with the comment here, but I'm telling you, I know for a fact that was a major part of Brendan Fraser disappearing. It just is. Hollywood's all about, they're so superficial. No, Ken, what did you say? What, hold on. What? Ken, John Travolta's another one. I got another one for you. I got one for you. You ready? Since we're doing it here tonight, let's just do it. By the way, if I start sweating, it's because it's 7,000 degrees here in LA. So please just deal with it. Another celebrity who started to lose his hair, but now has more hair. You guys ready to play this game? I can't believe we're doing this. This is the stuff that'll go viral. Channing Tatum. Channing Tatum started to go bald in Magic Mike time. And I'm telling you what, either he had a hair transplant or something happened. He now has his hair sort of back. But I'm letting you know something. When your hair starts to go, and trust me, mine is here, but at some point it'll start to go. That's not a good thing for Hollywood. Okay, we could keep going. Chalamet will be employed forever. Exactly, Simone. Now you're with me. He's got the full head of hair. Part of being a Hollywood star is to have that full, thick mane of hair, like Brad Pitt, like a young Timothy Chalamet. He's got that hair, and especially, I haven't seen Bones and All yet, but I imagine he still has it long. And Adam Driver, their full mane. It is a vital part of this, and these are the things you won't get anywhere else. I'm so glad we got to that tonight. That's what happened. It's true. Eric's pretty good at looking at movies. Thank you, sir. I like pretty good. I've seen other video reviewers. All they do is go through what happened in the movie. I can't stand. Can we just say this? I can't stand YouTube videos where the person is talking, the review is all about the screenplay, and it's not even about what's wrong or right. It's telling you what happens in the movie. Like, that's not film evaluation. That's, first of all, that's screenplay evaluation, but it's not even that. You're just talking about plot. You're not telling me what works, what doesn't work, and certainly from an evaluation standpoint, not just screenplay. Technical. We talk about cinematography, score, editing, production design, right? All of these things that make a film. And that's why when I look at films and I'm evaluating, for awards, like someone today had a snarky comment to Sasha Stone. Sasha Stone had a tweet saying, don't listen to film critics. And while I largely am neutral on that statement, someone said that, film critics are, the know everything. And first of all, I don't think that's true. Not every film critic knows everything. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Not every film critic is good at what they do. Just because you're employed as a film critic does not mean you're good. It just doesn't. You know how you prove whether you're good? You, over time, identify things that are special about a film. And when I do awardsace.com and when I'm identifying the properties of a film that are award worthy, it's really about evaluating the individual aspect that you are targeting. So am I looking at, let's say, Nightmare Alley? As soon as I watch Nightmare Alley, I'm like, boom, production design contender. Okay, boom, cinematography contender, direction contender, Del Toro, obviously. But these are the things, right? So that's what you have to do, is you have to identify the individual aspects of a film and what they do. So when people say, oh, awards forecasters are just, bloviators, they don't know anything. What are you talking about? That's completely inaccurate. I know when I watch a film, if it is going to contend in a given category, or if it should. Now, if it doesn't, that's not because of my evaluation being wrong. It's because the people who watched it didn't identify it. A great example is I go back and I talk about cinematography all the time, right? Clearly, one of the most important aspects of anything when you watch film. Watch Gretel and Hansel. If we're going to talk about cinematography as an aspect of an awards component, you're looking to award the best cinematography in a film, you go back to 2019, there's no question that Gretel and Hansel is one of the top 5 cinematography plays of that year. So that is good. So don't tell me I'm an awards forecaster. My job is not, I'm not trying to say, here's the 5 people that are going to be up. Brendan Fraser, Christian Bale. I don't want to do that. Here's what I want to do. Here's the 5 people you should have on your list. Here are 5 more you should think about. And these are the other people. Okay, that's what I'm doing on Awards Ace. That's what I'm doing here on MMT. We are trying to spotlight elements of films that are worthy of being mentioned for awards. So don't just discount me as an awards forecaster. GTH, okay? Seriously, give me a break. Get better at what you do. How about that? Get better at what you do, and then come back into my world. Ken, are you really trying to say people in the film industry are pretentious? No, that would never be the case. How about not just the film industry? Let's just do it over the film critics. Oh my God. I mean, please don't even, I could go on for hours about that. And that's the other thing is hopefully here on MMT, you guys realize that who I am as a person is not this pretentious, oh, I know everything. I'm so smart. I'm so cool. Listen, ultimately that stuff is proven by your words and your evaluations over time, like I said. And I think I've done that over the past decade plus. I've proven over and over and over again to be on the right side of history on a lot of films. A lot of these things you see behind me, all these FYC screeners, I've called these films as they were. Now, again, if they didn't end up registering as I said they would, it's not because they weren't deserving. It's because they just weren't seen that way. Go back, Gretel and Hansel. Do you think that an awards body like, Golden Globes or Oscars are going to watch Gretel and Hansel, okay? And then have the smarts to extract an element from a film, the only thing from a film, and use that like we did. So Sunset Circle, as someone brought up here tonight, that's my awards group. Very small group. We're very good at drilling down on the specific elements of films that are award worthy. That's why that year we had Gretel and Hansel in for cinematography and score, because those 2 elements of that film are amongst the best of the year. And that's what you need to do as an awards forecaster and voter and or anyone who is looking at the landscape. You have to be able to extract elements of films. Point to a film up on the wall and I'll tell you what you extract from it. Annette, you extract Annette, Adam Driver. Cyrano, which you can't see, it's off the screen. Cyrano, you're going to absolutely take production design from that. You're going to take Dinklage as actor to start. I would also throw in Joe Wright for direction. Rocketman, Taron Egerton, production design, Dexter for director. I'm extracting, when I look at a film, I'm instantly telling you what should be the thing that you take from it. Down here, Sound of Metal, Darius Marder, director. Okay, not just Riz Ahmed, actor. Darius Marder, director. Okay, First Cow's down here. First Cow, direction. Okay, these things, that's what you get good at. Very few of these films up here are great at all of every category. Dune is rare. Dune is excellent as a picture, as director. I would say the performances are the weakest part of the film, but I still would say as an overall ensemble up there. Screenplay, tight. Production design, cinematography, Greg Fraser. Score, Hans Zimmer. That is an all-in awards film. We don't have many of those, okay? But that's what we're trying to do. And that's what we're going to do over the next several months here on MMT, okay? When we get into award season, we're still going to do box office, but we're going to really go after awards, and we're going to do it better than anybody else. It's not even going to be a contest. We're going to blow them out of the water. Jeff, Close Encounters is a better paced film than Jaws, even though its runtime is longer. Runtime is not always about being right or wrong. The number's not the issue. It's pacing, I would agree. And Jaws gets a little bit marooned on the boat, okay? I'm not saying a lot. I'm not suggesting it's not a great film. I'm just saying from second watch, there's a way to tighten Jaws up and make it 10 minutes shorter, 5 minutes shorter. The boat just needs to be a little compressed, just a little bit, okay? And there's ways. And I'll tell you who needs to get better at that. You guys know where I'm going with this. Netflix. Netflix has no idea how to tell directors how to pace their films and to cut and to make it tighter. They need to figure that out, because from what I'm hearing, you've got Bardo coming in here from Inarritu, and that is a 3-hour film that's bloated, that is too much film. Another example of Netflix not being able to tell their directors, no, less is more. Go back to my Film Courage video. If you haven't watched it, go to Film Courage. Look for my latest video where I talk all about less is more. And I believe that is the number one thing when you evaluate a film. From a studio standpoint, I want to know that my film is tight. I want to know that there is very little excess fat in that film. James Watson, welcome to the channel, by the way. Good evening to you. National Cinema Day should be like a bye week for movie theaters. It kind of is. I mean, it's exactly right. It's got to be a weekend where there's nothing of significance. I mean, it wouldn't even work actually for Barbarian. And that's what I'm curious, because I just said I think that Fox, Disney, should have moved Barbarian up to this week. But here's the reality. They would not want to go for that $3 deal for Barbarian. They want the full price ticket. That's probably why they stayed out of this weekend and went to next weekend. But because you have to have everybody all in. Remember, if you have National Cinema Day and you have a film that's off menu. So say everything on the menu is $3 except for that one thing at the top, the filet. The filet is $40. Everything else is $3. And you're like, people are going to be pissed. They're going to be like, you said that this restaurant is everything is $3. And that's what's going to happen when they show up at AMC and Regal. Hey, you said every movie's $3. Barbarian's 15. Whoa. And then you got angry people, and that's never good. So you're right. It has to be, James, great comment. It has to be like a bye week. People want to be liked and get the studios to like them and are afraid to be negative, so they stop getting invited to things. It's true, Ken. What you just said is true. And it's sad to me that, first of all, I don't want to be liked. I don't care. I mean, you either like me or you don't. And Ken's the same way. We hung out in Boston. We sat like 2 chairs apart from each other for like 3 years of every screening. Is that I like no nonsense people. I like people that don't pretend to be something they're not. I like just straight, honest shooters, and Ken's one of those people. And a lot of people in the film industry, they want to be liked, and they don't want to say something that will offend somebody. And like Siskel and Ebert said in that great clip that I could draw up, I'll probably tweet it out again, where it talks about the death of a critic. The death of a critic's wanting to be liked, okay? Because instantly you're not reviewing a movie. You're saying, what do I want to say here that's not going to get me attacked by people, that's not going to have people thinking I'm dumb, people think I don't know what I'm talking about. I say this: you're probably, especially if you've been doing it for a long time like me, you're usually right. Your instincts are right. And I go back to even a movie like Licorice Pizza, which I came out and said is not a great movie. It's just not. It's one of Paul Thomas Anderson's worst films. And it's not the comedy. First of all, it's a screenplay. It's a collection of scenes cobbled together. It is not a cohesive film. I still like it more than Inherent Vice, but these are 2 of the worst films from him. But when I said the tweet, and I actually said in the tweet, which has over 1 million impressions, God knows what it has now, I said that this is what happens when you let a director make whatever movie they want, and everyone goes, "Oh, go get Eric. He doesn't know what he's talking about." No, I'm right. Directors have the right to make whatever movie they want. Yes, of course. No one's going to argue that. But you still have to have someone near and dear to you who watches the film, sits there through the dailies and says, listen, this scene isn't working. Like, a great example is the whole, the accent, the Asian accent, right? In I would say that scene needs to go, okay? You need to have someone close to you who says, this is good, this is not good, and someone who's really talented at that. You can't just have some random person saying that, because they could be wrong. But don't want to be liked, okay? And then the studios, let me tell you this. I have savaged plenty of films, and yes, the Russos are definitely going to like walk up and punch me in the face one day, and so be it. Like, and come on. Like, I'm scared of Joe Russo. That would be a thing. He walks up and be like, dude, are you kidding me right now? Here's the reality, is that you got to be honest, and people appreciate that in the long run. I had a studio send me a film. Okay, this is a great example of being honest and forthright and sticking to your guns. I had a studio last year send me a film via a link and said, hey, we want you to watch this and evaluate it and tell us, does it have an award shot? I'm not going to tell you what film it was. I'm not going to tell you anything about that because that would break, kind of our code of ethics and, disclosing what the film was. I'm not going to do that. I watched the film and they were high on a couple things, and I said, listen, I'm going to be honest with you, and I wish I should actually paste the email and redact all the things. I said, it's not going to be an awards film. It's just not strong enough in this area. I don't even think that the one thing that you think is going to come from this movie, there's one element of the film they really thought they had a shot with. I said, I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think it's really, unfortunately, this is a non-starter. Sent the email, got an email back saying, hey, appreciate it, thank you. And guess who was right? Me. 100% right. The film was not an awards film. The thing that they thought had a shot to get a nomination did not even materialize at all. And that builds credibility, ultimately. And I'd rather have credibility than have, oh, yeah, the movie's great. Oh, my God, this person's fantastic. This is absolutely going to be an Oscar film. Because then it's not. And then you look dumb because you just said, so now the studio that sent me the link is saying to themselves, Eric's smart. Eric knows what he's talking about. And Eric's fearless. And ultimately, that's the number one thing you have to be when you step into the world of film evaluation. You must be fearless. You must not give a shit about what anyone else says. And you stick to your guns, and because you've done it a long time, that you're right, ultimately, or at least you are very close to correct. And that comes from a long time of doing this. So yeah, forget the studios and wanting to be liked. I talk Marvel 227, good evening to you. Night's going well. I wish it was cooler here. I'm literally beating sweat. It's 100 and some degrees, 110 here today. I think we're at like 95 at 9:30 at night. Hope your evening's going well. National Cinema Day should be a yearly thing. It could work very well when cinema is slow in August, September. Agreed. Go back to the beginning of the stream. We talk about it in detail why I don't think we're ever going to see another National Cinema Day, certainly the way we did. And it comes down to one thing. When you have a new film that is out, no studio is going to go for this. $3 for all films. You're going to have one film that says, no, we are full priced, and then you get angry customers. That's why you're not going to see it again the way we did. We got lucky. It was the perfect timing for this. So going forward, if you're going to do this, you have to do it on another weekend with nothing. Maybe in like January. Because remember, last year in January, we had the 227. Wait, 347. What was the name of that movie? Not the 227. That was a TV show. The 347? The 341? The hell was that movie? The 447? What? Whatever that was. We had like nothing. It's Roger Rabbit 2 now, likely $2 billion greenlit, 2028 release. We're going to see. Listen, Chip and Dale had the Emmy win. We'll see what happens. I mean, Zemeckis is only getting older, so that's always a challenge. But, listen, if you're going to make Roger Rabbit 2, you have to put a ton of cash into it, obviously. You got to make sure that thing's great. The original's amazing. It still holds up to this day. Jeff, again, Hollywood, wigs are dirt cheap. Listen, I think there are actors who've definitely worn hairpieces. No question about it. Now, I can't tell you who those people are, but I can tell you that there are people, when you watch films, I used to be, so listen, as a guy who's getting older, I'd be like, wait a second, my hair, it's starting to go, because if you're young, you don't know what I'm talking about. The older you get, you start to go, wait a second, do I have my full head of hair? There were times when I'd watch movies and I could see that a guy was going bald. Okay, hey, you want another going bald actor? I've already given you Brendan Fraser, and we also gave you, God, I already forgot his name, Channing Tatum. And also, you ready for another one that you probably aren't going to know? Yes, John Travolta. Ken with that one. You ready for one? Here's one that definitely was losing his hair and then all of a sudden had hair. You guys ready for this? Someone shouted out loud. It is Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey was going bald. There's no question. Go back and watch his movies from like the late 90s and 2000s. He started to lose his hair and he did something listen, there's hair transplants like John Travolta, the 355. But listen, I'm going to get banned from everything once I start telling you all the actors who've gone bald. But I'm just telling you, it's a real thing. I talk Marvel 227. It was the 355, right? Was that it? What was the first one? The 355. That's it. It was the 3. You know what? I will die if I will actually send an email tomorrow to Universal to say, "Will you please make an award screener for 355?" I will put it in the background. If we get a 355 screener, I'm going to put it right there. Get Out's out, not Dune. Maybe we'll get rid of Star is Born. Something that's like right in the main view, because the 355 as an award screener would be nearly as riotous as Wonder Woman down here, Wonder Woman 84, the worst CBM of all time in the conversation for sure. And I have an award screener behind me. By the way, do you guys see where we put Hustle? We put Hustle up on the wall. Did you guys see what I also did? I put Hustle on the wall and I moved Zola. That's the change for tonight on the wall. On the MMT wall of screeners, Hustle is up and Zola's over there. And I actually like the placement of both. But as we roll through award season, we're going to have some new films up here and we have to decide what ones stay and which ones go. But right now, I don't have anything other than Hustle, which is up there. You guys see it above Avengers Endgame. All right, I want to get into one more comment, and then let's do, go ahead, Ken. Let's do Ken, and then we're going to go to one last thing before we wrap up here, because we're going to roll into the next week. I want to talk about some stuff that's going to happen. Ken, The Social Network for me is one of the near perfect films. It absolutely is. Everything about it, I've watched that film no fewer than 10 times in its completion. And I have a whole video on Film Courage talking about it. If you haven't watched that, Ken, go look for it. It's talking about masterpiece, true masterpiece, and that is absolutely that. Okay, here's our last. I have not seen Breaking. No, I have not seen it. Here's our last topic of the night, Barbarian. Okay, so Barbarian's box office is the question I have for you tonight. I want you to give me a number right now. We're rolling into Barbarian week. We're finally here. Now, it's a great topic because I want to tell you a couple things about this upcoming week. As we roll into the week, on Wednesday night, we are going to have a Don't Worry, Darling breakdown, an evaluation of the film, what works, what doesn't work, zero spoiler. The next night, we're doing back-to-back this week, Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday is Barbarian. Now, here's the thing about Barbarian and Thursday night at MMT. It's going to be a rare midnight movie talk where we actually are going to break down spoilers, because I have a major problem with the film. I want to talk about what it is, and I can't do it without telling you plot points. So you need to go see Barbarian Wednesday night. They have preview screenings, or Thursday before we come on the air. We'll probably come on about 9. We'll go a little bit later, give you some time to see the film. I want to get a spoiler discussion. Jeff Ewing will join me. He's very smart about not just horror, but also screenplay. We're going to break this film down. I'm going to tell you my problems. He's going to say if I'm right or wrong, and I'm going to tell you my issues. But I do want to talk about this. Barbarian, box office. I think that this is a film that has a chance to break out. Now, I did just learn something today that has me concerned about this film from a box office perspective. Fox/Disney is only putting this on 2,200 screens. It is not at 3. It is not at 4,000. So that's a smaller number than I would like to see. That makes me think they are a little bit tepid about this film. And I will say this. The issues I have with Barbarian are legit, but it is a very ambitious film, and it is a film you will not be bored watching. That I guarantee. And ultimately, if I'm recommending a film, that is essential to the recommendation. Will you at least enjoy yourself as you watch Barbarian? And the answer is yes. So I am recommending Barbarian, but I want to tell you why I have a major problem with the film, and it's going to be on Thursday night. 15 to 20. Nick, I had it at 15, but now that it's at 2,200 screens, I want to squeeze that down to between 10 and 12. That number of screens has me pushing the number down, okay? But, so Aaliyah, you're at 9 to 10. That's closer to where I am. Here's again the positives for Barbarian. There's been nothing in the marketplace new for the past several weeks. Therefore, box office law, number one, Midnight Movie Talk, rule number 1 of box office. When you have nothing in front of your film is going to benefit from the wasteland in front of it. It happens every single time. Whenever you have a period of week or weeks with nothing significant at the multiplex. The next film in kills it. Maverick was a great example of that. People were ready to come back, and not just was Maverick great, it also hit that runway perfectly on the entry. Barbarian 12.5. Jay, I had it at 10 to 12, so you're right there. 10 for Lonely Lizard. So we're between 9 and 15. Sotfik, 10 to 15. We're in the same 11. Ken's at 11. Do I have 11.5? The reason why it's on fewer screens because we want to have more people in each screening. Oh no, Roy Lee's here tonight. Okay, wait, Roy. If this is the real Roy Lee, okay, Roy, if I'm not mistaken, Roy wrote the movie, correct? Roy, I got to look at this. I'm not prepared for this. This is fun. Okay, you on fewer screens, you want to have more people in each screening. Okay, I understand that, but which makes sense to me because if you have something in fewer quantities, that means in fewer options to see. That means you have more people in each one. So that makes sense to me, Roy. Okay, the shared experience, the bigger crowd is the best way to build word of mouth. Okay, this is the stuff I need. I love it. I just hope that works out. The fewer locations and the fewer screens makes more people go into each movie. I'm telling you this about the movie. I have problems with the movie, okay? But it is very engaging and it's very ambitious, and it's going to have a moment in the middle of the movie without giving anything away. Those of you who've seen it, you know what I'm saying, what I'm about to say. There's a moment in the movie where you will turn and you'll go, what the hell is happening? Okay. And when that moment happens, that's always a thing where your brain just lights up, like what's going on? And for that ambition and really very much of a risk to take, I think it works. Okay. Here's what I'll say about Barbarian as we go into it. And this is not giving it away. Where everybody had a problem with Gordy and Nope, right? And I agree. Gordy does not fully coalesce and mesh into Nope like Jordan Peele hoped. I don't care what you tell me. I don't care how many thesis papers you tell me to read. Gordy does not fully mesh into Nope and the screenplay as well as Jordan hoped. Barbarian does something that is not Gordy-ish exactly, but does something that's a major risk of not fully coalescing, and it does. So that's what's cool is when you try something, you swing for the fences, and it works, then I'm a fan, okay? But there is a problem I have with the film, but we have to see it before we see it. Roy comes back, then he's really gonna get it. I had to give Roy literally a link and jump on, and then we could like debate it. That would be fun. That would be kind of crazy. Jeff, nobody seemed terribly gripped when the Barbarian trailer played today in my auditorium. Okay, but Jeff, I will say that the trailer for Barbarian is not the movie. In fact, it's not at all. And that's a credit to Fox and whoever put that thing together. The team that assembled the trailer did a very good job of keeping the movie under wraps, and versus Nope was great. The first trailer, that second trailer gives you the whole movie. Why? Because Universal always gives you the whole movie. So credit Fox, Disney for taking Barbarian and compacting it and leaving it to a point where you're going to watch the movie and everything that I'm kind of talking about is not going to be seen until you see the movie. We're going to find out if it needed more marketing. The trailer looked interesting. I know that Fox and Disney are high on it. The production company's very excited about it. And I feel like the test screenings have gone very well. The word of mouth from people who've come out of the film is very high. Again, I love the film's ambition, and it is not boring, which is always going to win for me. So when we talk about this film on Thursday, you got to see it. Okay, so that's your homework. On Wednesday and or Thursday, you must go see Barbarian. So we're actually driving business to Barbarian. So it's part of what we do here because it's really going to be an interesting night. So I look forward to that. And don't forget, on Wednesday, we're going to do Don't Worry, Darling. Aaliyah, I wonder if National Cinema Day, though satisfied seeing a movie itch, though Barbarian will not benefit. I really don't think National Cinema Day and Barbarian are tied together much at all. I think that National Cinema Day was more just about getting people back into the theater for the fall. I feel like Barbarian is almost its own thing where, yes, I think it helps a little bit having people come back to the multiplex and go, what's the next movie? Okay, I'm not going to argue that, but I think that the audience for Barbarian was already there. And I don't think it really was dependent on National Cinema Day. But do remember this, and this is very important when you look at a movie like Smile coming out here at the end of September. When you have a movie trailer that is shown as many times as Smile was in front of Top Gun Maverick, the impressions of that on eyes in the multiplex is immeasurable. And when you look at what happened this past weekend for National Cinema Day, you had all these people packed into theaters watching trailers for films that are coming up, such as Barbarian, and that does make an impact. Those impressions make people go to see the movie. So I think that really it's about the trailer views for me in front of those films that maybe someone who was like, I don't even know Barbarian's coming out. That looks interesting. And I think that's where it'll come into play. And that's why Smile is a film that people think is going to open like 20, 25 million, because it was seen, the impressions on that in front of Maverick were insane, right? We've all seen that teaser trailer and then the longer trailer so many times, from going to Maverick and all the movies throughout the summer. Smile was attached to those films largely. I'm seeing Barbarian on Tuesday. Okay, good. Well, listen, Ken, I want to have you join in, jump in and tell me what you think. It's going to be a fun night on Thursday. I can't wait. And I think what's interesting about Barbarian, what makes it fun for me, is that it is a film you're going to want to talk about. That's what's going to make it cool on Thursday. You're going to want to come on here and discuss what worked, what didn't work. Was it a home run for you? What would have been better? These are the things that we're really going to do for final. We're going to finally open this thing up and really go spoiler, because I think you have to with a film like Barbarian. And I know someone involved with the film said, don't do the stream now. Save it for Friday. I said, no, listen, there's screenings on Wednesday and there's screenings on Thursday. No excuse. That gives you 2 nights to go see it before we spoil it on Thursday night. So it's going to be really fun. Yeah, they are watching me. It's scary. If that is Roy Lee, hey, listen, I think they're a little bit, they kind of know I have a little issue with Barbarians. They're going to say, what is the issue and what's he going to say? But listen, ultimately, I want to say this, and we'll wrap it like this, and we talked about it earlier, is whatever you have to say about something, remember that you want to stand in your opinion. You do not want to back down. So, I remember I go back to my Licorice Pizza tweet and everyone's like, oh, Eric doesn't know what he's talking about. Directors making whatever movie they want. I'm like, okay. I go, whatever, guys. First of all, do you think I'm going to go on there and say I was wrong? Because my opinion is what it was. Now, if I said something inflammatory and totally out of control, that's different. But if I'm going to go on and you're like, Eric, you were wrong about Thor: Love and Thunder. You said you loved it. It sucks. I'm like I'm going to turn around and say, you're right. Thor: Love and Thunder sucks. There are people who do that. And first thing, if anyone ever does that, you need to discount them going forward forever, because that's weak, right? When you change your opinion. There's only one movie. I'm going to say this, and we're going to wrap. There is one movie that I changed my opinion of upon second watch, and I can tell you why. Okay? I'm going to give you another hint. It is up on the wall behind me. There is one film that I changed my opinion. This was very early in my career, back in 2011, because I was still learning the art of film evaluation. I went to see Moneyball. And let me explain why I wasn't as high on Moneyball as I am today. Because I went to see Hugo before I went to see Moneyball. And I told you I don't do well with back-to-back movies. That's another reason why I don't want to go to screenings, film festivals, because I'm going to watch 3-4 movies and it's not fair to how I evaluate. I like to really sit down and sit with the film and enjoy it. Like when I went to see Barbarian a few weeks ago on the Disney lot, I had a chance to watch it, and that was the only film I sat there and I really meditated on it almost. And I think that's what you need to do. So when I watched Moneyball, I saw Hugo, and Hugo's a pretty long film. And then I saw Moneyball, and I was not in the mood really to watch it, but I kind of wanted to see it because I'd heard it was good. And I was like, it's okay. And then I watched it again. I'm like, what the hell am I thinking? Bennett Miller is one of my favorite directors and needs to direct more films. And Brad Pitt is outstanding in Moneyball. So there's one film that I have flipped on, but I didn't even say it was negative. I just went from like a B to an A. So it never went, I didn't go negative to positive. I went up a grade, because when I rewatched it, I was in a better frame of mind. And that's why, for me, also, it's a disservice to go to a film festival, because by the time I watch 3 movies or 4 movies, I promise you that 4th movie, I'm not going to appreciate as much as I would if it was the only movie I saw that day. That's why I'd rather watch them as they parse them out to us here in LA. Like I said, I'm going to see Don't Worry, Darling 2 days after it drops in Venice. I mean, so what? That's fine. Like, I'm going to fly to Venice so I can see it tomorrow versus Wednesday. I mean, ultimately, guys, when you see the movie shouldn't matter. And stand strong in your convictions. We're going to wrap with that. I'm going to do this. You can change your opinion if you feel your opinion changed. Of course, I agree. I mean, you can, but in general, I think you need to be in the, remember, before you issue your edict of what a film works or not, really sit in it, think about it. I try not to talk to very many people at all. In fact, when I go to critic screenings, very often I will, and I have my core group of friends that we talk. I usually go, hey guys, I got to go. I don't want to sit there afterwards and sit in a circle like a lot of critics do and talk, because you know what's happening at that moment? At that moment, you're being influenced by other thoughts that maybe you didn't see. I don't want to be that way. I want to be able to watch a film by my individual self and say, this is what works and what doesn't work, without someone influencing my thoughts. And that requires no one but you, right? That requires only you to do that. All right. That's my favorite 30-second spot. Yeah, it's good. All right. Listen, we'll be back here on Wednesday night. We're back here. Wednesday night, we are back here for Don't Worry, Darling. No spoilers on that, because that doesn't come out for weeks. I'm not going to ruin the movie if you're on Wednesday night, but we will tell you all the awards prospects, the film box office prospects, what works generally without any plot points. But on Thursday, when we talk about Barbarian, we're going to, because it's out, we are going to do spoilers, because it has to be done. I'll see you back here on Wednesday night for Don't Worry, Darling, which could be a big hit for Warner Brothers, assuming it's a very good film. And that's a big assumption. We're going to find out tomorrow from Venice, and I will confirm with you on Wednesday night. Until then, MMT is